Who needs a limo? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mess Hall. This is the show where we chip, chop, and chiffonade in the kitchen. Carissa April, United States Coast Guard veteran, and boy does she have a special treat for you. And it keeps getting better because today we come to you from Dino's Sports Bar in Mashpee, Massachusetts, where my main man, the Golden Greek himself, Dino Mitrokostas, going to show us how he makes his world-famous pizza. We've also got Christie's Fun Food Facts, our Tito's Handmade Vodka Drink of the Day, and a very special mail call segment. And the best thing about it is, folks, it's all coming up right here on the Mess Hall, brought to you by our great friends at the Proprietors Lodge of Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Let's have at it. Hey, everybody, welcome back. We're at Dino's Sports Bar, and Dino is going to show Carissa and I how he makes his world-famous pizza. Dino, it's all your show, buddy.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I'm very glad to do this for the military and the veterans. And today is going to be very interesting. I've known Wayne a long time, and I don't know. He tells me he knows how to make a pizza, but I really doubt it. You ready to go?
Give some orders. Come on, Commander. Right. Give some orders.
I got to give you your paddles here first. But right behind you, right here, is the dough balls. Let's grab some dough balls. Okay. You might need a little flour, you guys, because no, your hands are that way, either way. You can judge any way you do it.
Do we have any gloves?
Your gloves are right here, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Too late. I'm
very, very, very important part.
Nobody eat
Safety
mine.
here.
I used my hands.
It's it. You got to play with the dough. You got to make it. It's like it's very cold. It's like Play-Doh. Remember when you were young, you had Play-Doh? It's kind of the similar stuff. So.
Do you press yours?
I press. I toss, we toss, but I want to see how you guys toss, because I can toss. I don't know.
All right, you can toss. All right. You know, I'm going to do the Michael Jackson. Wear one glove. How's that? There we go. How much?
Well, you told me you knew how to make pizzas.
Oh, I do.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's all about the technique, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. When do we get a chance to? Yeah, when do we get a chance to do that?
Just do it. Do your thing. You told me you were a pizza manager somewhere back in college days.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you work in a pizza shop?
Yes, I did.
I worked in a pizza shop.
I heard you. Carissa told me earlier that she was she's a veteran when she was younger.
Sam's Pizza in Freeport, Maine.
The Brick Oven in North Adams, Massachusetts. Fine Emporium.
Yes.
Okay.
See, that's why I brought extra dough balls over there, Wayno.
Sorry about that. You know, folks, I actually worked in a pizza joint during college. Great place called the Brick Oven, and I got to admit, today it was just a tiny bit rusty.
Here she goes, folks. Here she goes.
Now, how thin does the crust have to be?
Well, I tell you, the thin would be good because the thinner gets a little crispier, a little thicker on the edge, so it'll get a nice little crust.
Okay.
The thing. Look at. She knows. She wasn't kidding.
Now
we didn't throw them up in the air, though.
Now let's sit. Now try that with your eyes closed. Hold on. Whose is better?
Oh, hers is by far. What are you talking about? Jeez, come on, dude.
Teacher's pet. Now, is this seriously? Is this like the Colonel's secret recipe?
Secret recipe.
Okay.
We make the dough, the sauce, and everything exactly the same from 1962. I haven't changed a bit. The oven's the same, the old-fashioned ovens. Pan, we do pan pizza here, a specialty.
Show's only a half hour.
Sorry.
Give me some of that sauce.
All right. What else?
All right, now we go over to the cheese. We do a special blend of mozzarella and cheddar. Mozzarella right here, cheddar right here.
Now, just watch the technique now, see? Yeah. Just go like that, right around, see? You getting this hitch, huh? There you go.
What else we got? I got to plan my portions. Bacon,
Bacon,
peppers,
pepperoni,
olives.
We do some specialty pizzas too, but you know,
what?
we'll trade you on the little stuff here. We do a great barbecue chicken pizza, chicken Alfredo pizza. Super Buffalo chicken pizza is legendary around here.
Super Buffalo?
Yeah, pepperoni, jalapeno, a little hot sauce, fresh chicken.
I'd like a little mushroom. Yeah. Is that okay? Sorry to reach, Carissa, but...
Yeah, please.
All right.
You need your veggies there, Wayno.
Yeah, you have to. These are kind of shiitake mushrooms. What kind of mushrooms we using?
It's regular American mushrooms here.
Okay, all right.
There you go, yep. And then just shoot right to there to the right. Wow, like a pro on that one. Good?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You're on a roll, kid.
Yours better not stick, Wayne.
I hope not. Here we go. Check this out, what Carissa just did. MH. What do you think that stands for? Not my house. Mess Hall. Right here, that's awesome. Did the pizza just seem to explode?
The magic, it's Carissa, it's all Carissa. This is the Big D special that we actually give to charity. They auction these off for charity. It's a 24-inch, biggest pizza on Cape Cod because size does matter. And we've raised a ton of money for the local charities, giving these pizzas for them.
Great job. Now let's cut it up,
Let's
man.
go.
All right.
Let's
you're,
go.
You're not going to let him cut it, right?
No,
I heard
That's
there's
that's
something about
that's
knives
diss.
in you. I just
It's a
heard that.
very bad
Unless-
reputation with knives,
Oh,
ladies
yeah,
and gentlemen.
no.
I mean, you know, I'm really excited to have Carissa April, United States Coast Guard veteran, on the show today. Bright, athletic, talented, all-American, all-academic field hockey player in college, and she is not afraid to keep me on my toes.
I do have a special prop here for Wayno. He's got the.
Pizza cutter.
We'll give him at least scissors so he can cut his pizza.
Oh, you guys are killing me.
Use that.
Just killing me. See, just look at this, and it comes apart, too. Only the finest tools we have here at Dino Sports Bar, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, you break my thing already in 2 seconds? Jeez.
You really can't hurt yourself with that, but I don't know.
Look at that, with authority.
Perfect.
right.
Great job.
Are we gonna try? Are we gonna try a little bit? You gonna
Yeah,
try?
absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead. That's
Whoa.
yours.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
yours.
I had mushrooms on mine.
Hey, there's yours for Wayno.
Yeah. I'll take it small. I'll take a
Did I
small
cut
one.
that?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Wow,
You just
fabulous. The cheese, the pepperoni,
secret sauce.
secret sauce, which we can't tell you.
Homemade dough. Made
Homemade
fresh
dough.
daily.
This is absolutely fabulous. Really is. We're going to take another quick break and check in with Christy for our fun food facts.
Thanks, Wayno. Our fun food fact today is brought to you by our friends at Soldier On. Check it out. Energy bars were the quest for an emergency ration that was light, compact, and nutritious. In the 1940s, Hershey produced a nasty meltless chocolate bar, which became the D ration. In the 1960s, they were freeze-dried into cubes for space flights. Finally, in the 1960s, the Natick Soldier System Center created the first modern energy bar, which was apricot-flavored and munched on by David Scott on the Apollo 15 flight. And that is our fun food fact for today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're at Dino's Sports Bar, and this is going to be a very, very, very special treat for you because we have former commander, United States Coast Guard, Carissa April, and check this out.
All right, Wayne. Well, I do something I call art to eat, and that's custom cookies for special events. And I just made a few sort of to prepare and let you see how to decorate a cookie. There's a lot of ways to decorate a cookie. The important thing is to start with a nice smooth cookie. You can use anything. I make a sugar cookie and I add a little bit of nutmeg and cinnamon, my not so secret ingredient. Just gives it a little bit of that irresistible, keep coming back for more flavor. And so you can use anything. You could buy a cookie and just make yourself some royal icing. Now, royal icing is the important part. Royal icing is made with meringue powder. There's a lot of brands. Meringue powder is pretty much powdered egg white, and then they add a little sugar and something to keep it from clumping, I guess. But you could technically use powdered egg whites. You could use egg whites themselves if you weren't concerned about the food safe part. And powdered sugar, just your everyday 10x powdered sugar from the grocery store, and some water.
Now, do these have to be typically like this, or can you go ahead and?
Yeah, you can do that. My daughter likes them without the icing, but it's not exactly decorated. So anyway, I usually use a metal spoon, just a regular teaspoon, but I figured it might be safer for you if we went with plastic. I know you have a little knife thing. This one here isn't just an example of how that's already been what they kind of call flooded with white. You are going to pick up the cookie that you took a bite out of. Flooded.
Okay.
Because now you have a little extra edge to work around.
Oh,
all right?
okay. So you want me to use this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you just get enough icing, like maybe that much, a dollop. It's just practice. It's a lot of practice. I've spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours doing this.
How did you get into this?
I have no idea. So I actually have a minor in art from college, and I just love arts and crafts, whatever it is. And this one you happen to be able to eat, so I like it even more. So using the back of the spoon, I just push the icing out to the edges and the corner, and then if you're getting a little, and then you kind of pull it back. And again, it does take practice, but it is tried and true method. And the thing that I see people do when they're trying is maybe they put too much on. Their icing is too thin. You know, I've gotten to this point in a cookie icing event, a stack of 100 cookies next to me, and the icing's too thin. And I just have to stop what I'm doing and fix the icing. 'Cause it's all about the right materials, right?
Yes, it is.
But and that, your red is a little thick. We could thin it out, but We don't really need to today.
Look at
But
the
while
edging.
the edging is pretty good, I would say. For this your first time?
No, I was a major, minored in this in college. So
Oh, really?
Didn't want to
good.
let you know.
In
but-
cookie decorating?
Yes,
Yeah,
without
they
question.
have that?
It's a wonderful
I
thing.
didn't even know they had that. Great. This is just for demonstration purposes, but sometimes it's fun to do some icing when it's sort of what I would call wet on wet. So the bottom icing is wet and the top icing is wet. So you can kind of drag
Oh, that's cool.
that through there. It's drying so fast out here in the heat that you're getting a little bit of this extra line. I wouldn't ordinarily accept that myself, but it's okay for the purposes of what we're doing, right? And so you can kind of drag those and make really cool patterns.
Now you have your own little business, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a hobby business. I do like weddings and showers and birthdays and custom cookies for special events. So, you want to play with a marker?
Yeah,
You want to
please.
write, maybe you could make like a mess hall cookie. I'll give you green.
Okay.
Now, I tried this earlier, I have to admit. I tried the font from the mess hall and it's very hard to do.
Okay.
But you could give it a try. With some practice, I might be able to get good at it, but mine didn't come out great.
Now
That looks
that's,
good.
check out that
Very
handwriting,
nice,
huh?
Very nice.
Huh? What do you
That's
think?
it. I'd know it anywhere. Excellent. I have an idea today I want to try that I've never done before. We'll see how that goes.
I'm up for it.
All right. So if you're using a little, I use vodka, a clear alcohol, Tito's
Yep.
that we have here today.
Tito's
is
handmade vodka?
Very handy for that, and it's kind of like a paint thinner for the icing, for these colors, these icing colors. So I have a couple of greens.
Hey, this wasn't the 8-ball in the corner pocket. This was Tito's in the left pocket.
And see if I could do a sort of a camo. Now I've never done this before.
Okay.
so,
All right. Now, what's your Instagram page again?
It's Art to Eat Cape Cod.
Art to Eat Cape Cod.
Yep. And you can see I'm going into the zone. I'm forgetting that you're here. I'm going to start decorating. So I'm going to put this aside before I get too distracted.
Alrighty.
Yeah, so I'll put that
So
one
what do we got
there.
next? When
Right,
do we
what
get
else
to
do you
eat?
wanna do? Well, soon.
Okay,
soon.
all right.
Now, since we're at Dino's today, we could do. I can just, we can do another. We can do another Dino's cookie here, and
And you've really got to have a steady, kind of a fine hand to do this, right?
yeah, and sometimes late at night, or I guess late at night, like 2 in the morning is late at night, right? Because it goes late sometimes. It gets harder and harder to do, and of course, reading glasses. Getting to the point where reading glasses would really, really help right now. It'll do.
A little free PR for
It'll
Dino.
do.
There we go, right?
Yeah.
$2.75 on eBay, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Your cookies. What's the most challenging cookie you ever had to make, or what's the most difficult cookie that you ever had to make?
Well, some friends got married several years ago, and he's from England and she's from the United States, and so I made hearts. It sounds very simple. I made pretty big hearts, and they were in white and ivory. Again, simple colors, not that big a deal. But I made I tried to combine a U.S., like the stripes and stars of the U.S. flag and the English, the UK Union Jack flag in white and off-white. So they were super. There's 150 of them.
How big were they?
too.
How big were they?
They were, a 4-inch cookie or something like that.
And you got all
Yeah.
that stuff on there?
So that was hard. I was actually at work, and I was on the road that week for a conference, and I was in a hotel room. And so at night, I had all these cookies, and I asked the hotel staff to bring me some 8-foot tables. I had them set up in my room with the air conditioning blasting. So at night after the conference, I would come back. So that was probably part of the challenge, was getting them done while I was on the road. But yeah.
Well, this is awesome. Thank you so very much. And we get to eat these, right?
There's plenty to eat. There's
Okay,
something
we
for
got
everybody.
something for
So,
everybody?
yeah. Did you you had a bite, but you didn't
I
have
did.
it with the icing.
Was
yeah.
very good. No, I
Icing
haven't had
makes
it. Let me
You
just
should
try
probably
this with the
try it
icing
with
now.
icing.
This is the dragé on it, right?
I don't have any dragées.
Oh, all
I
right.
don't think I
We're at it,
brought
but
any.
I'll eat it
no.
anyways. No problem.
I have some gold paint, some silver paint, some silver dust,
Wow.
and
This is really, really,
Pretty
really
tasty,
good.
right?
Yeah. Thank you so much for being part of this segment.
it's a lot of fun.
And we're coming up, we're going to chat with Carissa about her 23 years of service in the United States Coast Guard. But right now, let's go to Christy and our Tito's Handmade Vodka drink of the day.
Thanks, Wayno. Our segment today is sponsored by our good friends at Tito's Handmade Vodka. We're going to be mixing up a delicious cocktail, so grab your shaker and let's get started. Here is our Tito's White Russian. In a rocks glass, add 2 ounces of Tito's Handmade Vodka, 1 ounce of Kahlua, and between 0.5 and 1 ounce of cream, depending on how creamy you'd like it. Quick stir and serve. That is our Tito's White Russian.
Carissa, you graduated from Worcester College in Ohio. Why did you want to join the Coast Guard?
Well, I grew up on the water in Freeport, Maine, and I wanted to be a professional mariner. I knew I wanted to be working on the water. I wanted to be really good at driving boats, and I wanted to know more about it. And I also, I think having gone to a liberal arts college, which was a terrific education, I felt like I wanted to know a little bit more about the military. Both of my parents had served. They did their 4 years each in 2 different branches. And you know, I thought I knew a lot at 22 years old, and I said, maybe I'll join the Coast Guard, become a professional mariner, and I'll know what I'm talking about when I talk about the military, because I really didn't. So,
hats off to your mom and dad for being veterans. You go to officer candidate school. You told me that the OCS classmates play a pivotal role in your life. In what way?
well, you know, officer candidate school is a classic break you down to build you up as a team format. That's the program. And I actually didn't know that going in. I didn't know they were going to yell at us. I didn't know they were going to come banging on the door at 4:30 in the morning and we wouldn't be ready to get out there. So we all went through that experience together, and OCS is made up of people who come from kind of the tops of whatever group they've come from. They're at the top. They're leaders. They've accomplished a lot. And so the breaking us all down and then building us back up as a team, sort of breaking that ego out, was just it's a very emotional, challenging experience. And so when you go through that with people, they can become very close. And that shared experience, I think, just like 23 years in the Coast Guard, sort of in a larger sense, when you have that shared experience, people just become very important to you. So, of course, there are memories. There's a lot of embarrassing time. You're really at your worst sometimes. And the people that you share that with, I just think, you create special bonds. I'm still in touch with a lot of them today.
Your first assignment is in Kodiak, Alaska. You're an operations chief for a 180-foot buoy tender.
Right.
What are the challenges?
Yeah, well, so right out of officer candidate school, and I said, I want any ship. And that's kind of what I had to say to get a ship coming out of officer candidate school, and to go afloat, to go to a ship. And so I got any ship. It was as far away as could be. It was the Kodiak, Alaska. I didn't know anything about Kodiak, Alaska. So here I am, very, very, very far from home, which was fine, in a very remote place, in a very challenging operational environment. And I had a lot to prove, I think. I didn't feel like I had a lot to prove, but I know that I was definitely the new guy for a while. The crew was about 55. I happened to be the only woman on board. But I was an officer, and I was the navigator and the operations officer, really just by position. I had to get qualified as a deck watch officer first, and earn those positions. But it was a lot to learn very quickly. And actually, one of my favorite things about the Coast Guard is how much responsibility young people are given very early on, and how much is expected, and also, well supported. So the challenges were really the cold, the work environment, working aids to navigation in some really, really treacherous waters, up close in shoal water, driving this 180-foot ship in, up next to the rocks. So a lot of pressure to not put the boat on the rocks. A lot of pressure to do things right. It's a very dangerous operation, have people down on deck moving really heavy buoys and the sinkers, big concrete blocks on chains, and there's a boom. So it's a very dangerous environment. So I think the challenges were, having that, being responsible for that, and understanding how much weight is on the shoulders of the person that's managing the vessel at the time.
You and I both knew the late Admiral John Lennon, a great mentor to me, a wonderful friend. He had a profound impact on you, and you had a situation where he kind of took you aside and gave you some invaluable advice.
Yeah, it was, it was my second tour, so the executive officer of Monomoy, a 110-foot ship out of Woods Hole. and we were at a roundup. So all of the patrol boats, the ships of that class were in the region, were getting together. And it was after hours, after we'd had dinner, and he pulled me aside. He had gone to officer candidate school. And there weren't many flag officers then who had started their careers in officer candidate school. They were typically had gone to the Coast Guard Academy that made flag. And he was very proud of that. And I think that he saw in me another officer candidate school graduate who was an executive officer on a ship who was kind of making that career path. And he pulled me aside and he said, you know, it's really important. You're kind of representing all of us, having gone to officer candidate school. And he said, take care of the crew. The only thing that matters is take care of the crew. You know, he didn't exactly say, even if you run the ship aground, it's okay as long as you're taking care of the crew. But he was saying the most important thing is to take care of the crew. And I always have him in my mind saying that. And I would run into him after, you know, in town for a few years afterward. It was always great to talk to him.
What drove Carissa April every day?
Well, it was a lot of fun. You know, I joined the Coast Guard for 3 years. Coming out of college, I said, I'll go to officer candidate school. I have to be, you know, I'll do 3 years. I'm just going to do this and something else after that. And then so the first one was the buoy tender in Alaska, and the next one was the 110-foot patrol boat out of Woods Hole. We made patrols in the Caribbean. We were 150 miles off. We were all over the place in that ship. I was just having fun. So I just kept going back for more. I think that the fun, the fact that the job changed a lot, it changed very frequently, the crew, the people, it was really, you know, the relationships that you make with really good people. Everyone was there to do a really important job. People took it seriously, had fun doing it. I think it was just the people that, you know, kept me going back for more. And then 23 years later, it was finally time to go, but I thought I was only in for 3.
Hi, this is former college basketball coach and current CBS Sports Network basketball analyst Pete Gillen. I'd like to take this opportunity to say hi to United States Coast Guard veteran Carissa April. Carissa, thank you for your service to our great country.
Talk about the Caribbean, you just mentioned that. One of your fondest memories that you shared with me was being on patrol in the Caribbean around midnight.
Yeah.
Touch on
so we had, when we left from New England, we would go down for a few months, and it was long nights of patrolling the Mona Pass off of Puerto Rico, and dark ship and super quiet. And it was a gorgeous night, and I'm sure there were flying fish, and there were phosphorescence and stars, more stars than you knew were up there. And there was a young a seaman, Joel Greenstein, his name still comes to me today, and he was at the helm. He was the helmsman, and he and I were up there on watch. And he said that he had just been home for the holidays, and all his friends back home were doing nothing. They had graduated from high school, maybe they had a job, they were mostly just getting in trouble, and he said, and look at me, I'm out here in the middle of the Caribbean, in the middle of the night, responsible for driving this ship. And he was so happy with the decision that he had made joining the Coast Guard. And it was probably one of the first times that I realized what an opportunity it was for young people, again, to be given so much responsibility, excellent training, and to be part of a team and just doing really fun, adventurous, exciting work that was important. And so he's one of those voices that just stays in my head of saying, this is the best decision I ever made, and look at me now. Yeah.
It's a great story. It's wonderful that you still remember
I do,
his name. 23 years of missions and rescues. You're at Monomoy in Woods Hole. You get called to a mission 110 miles off of Cape Cod. Powerful story. Tell us about that night.
Yeah, well, there were a few. We had certainly middle of the night events, but this one was a fishing boat. I think it was a Canadian fishing boat, and it was wooden, and there aren't many of those left, the wooden fishing boats today. They're steel. There were a few, and this one from Canada had just gotten so far off track, and they had actually come over into U.S. waters. That's how long the boat had been disabled. And it was probably October, and the weather was terrible. And it was probably a borderline decision to even send us out there in those kinds of conditions. And I got so I've been seasick. I definitely take the meclizine and keep the seasickness at bay and try to time the first watch so that I'm awake for the first watch, and then I can usually get through the whole patrol without seasickness. This particular night, everybody was sick except for me and one other person on watch, and the two of us, it was one of those operations where everybody's awake pretty much for 2 straight days. Even the people who were sick, they were awake. They might not have been up on deck, but they were awake. So we just steamed for as long as fast as we could in those kinds of conditions. Probably for 8 or probably 10 hours to get offshore, maybe longer. Finally got to the fishing boat, and as things are breaking off, and things that have been bolted down and secure for sea and every other kind of condition were breaking off in the bridge, and we were holding things up, and everything's flying around. Again, stuff that had always been secure for sea just wasn't on this particular night. And so we had to make a couple of passes to get the boat in tow. The 3 people on board were well enough to get up on deck and try to, and handle the tow line. It was very, very dangerous, very treacherous, and I just thought, as scary as it was for probably everybody on our ship, and we had the training and the equipment and the ship that's built for it, I couldn't imagine the kind of fear that was in those men's minds at that night. And we were able to get them in tow and tow them in, and it was an even slower ride home because you have a boat in tow. But we came through the canal, and of course, like every good storm story, the next day is a beautiful sunny day, flat calm, and everybody sees us coming through the canal and waves like it's just another boat ride. But
Sure.
yeah.
23 years of service in the United States Coast Guard. How does that make you feel?
Well, it's a great sense of pride. I mean, it was such a privilege I feel so lucky that I had those 23 years. I guess it wasn't an accident that I joined the Coast Guard, but I really expected to just do it for 3 years, and it ended up being a career. And when it's a career, it's also, it's a life. It's family and friends forever. I'm really glad that I made that decision to join and to stay. And there's just a lot of pride, and I feel very privileged to have done that. I feel lucky that I got to have that, that job and those assignments and work with those people. I feel lucky every day.
Well, thank you so much for being on the mess hall. Thanks for your cookie segment. Most important, thank you for your service.
Thanks, Wayne. It's great. Thank you.
All right, folks, that's our show. We hope you enjoyed it here today. Special thanks to United States Coast Guard veteran Carissa April and to my good pal, Dino Mitrokostas. A very special shout goes out today to my pal, World War II veteran, 98-year-old Dick Sherman, who served his country in the United States Navy and who was amazingly involved in 5 major invasions in the South Pacific. For the Mess Hall crew, I'm Wayne Soares. Make it a great day.